wild. MTV in the 2000s had such a large array of different, weird, wild, and ridiculous shows that my first video on MTV shows from this era could barely scratch the surface. And heck, maybe today's video doesn't do that either. But today, we are going to head back.
I have traveled to the world's best food country. How do I know it's the best? Well, Gordon Ramsay said so.
It is my pleasure to finally announce the #1 cuisine across the planet is Moroccan cuisine.
Today, after trying this country's most iconic dishes, all decided Morocco truly should carry the crown of best food country.
This is not the food I was expecting to be trying here in Morocco. This thing is a beast.
And by the end of this video, I'll be taking on the food Chef Ramsay claimed to be his favorite in all of Morocco.
He said this was one of his favorite foods, not just of Morocco, but period.
I've met him in 2019.
Really?
Yes.
I think he's avoiding me.
Our journey begins here in the city of Fez, a place where history and flavor collide inside a maze of narrow streets and alleyways. Each one scented with the earthy tang of preserved lemons or smoky grilled meats. This is the Medina, an ancient walled city over 1,000 years old. Walking through these passageways feels like stepping back in time. Here, food isn't just sustenance, it's storytelling, with each dish reciting a chapter of Morocco's history. So, we might as well start at the beginning.
It's gonna be my first time trying Moroccan food.
Yeah.
Fatima, how you doing?
Good.
Joining me, our local guide, Fatima, born and raised in the city of Fez.
Right here, we have some coming fresh out the oven.
This is the normal bread. We call them khubz. This is
Oh.
our spoon in Morocco.
This communal oven makes a type of bread that's a staple in Moroccan cuisine. You'll find it everywhere, but its story begins here.
How old is this place right here?
This is like from 17th century.
That sounds old.
Made with just wheat flour, yeast, and salted water, it's baked in an ancient hand-built oven, fueled by cedar wood, giving it a distinct flavor and aroma.
And so I guess the big question is, why have a communal oven?
Because some houses, there is no like a big place to put an oven in. So they make the dough at home and they bring it here. Also, they can bring like their tagines, their spleen, heart, chicken, cake, anything.
I mean, nothing better than an oven with a spleen and a cake side by side.
Yes.
That sounds amazing.
Take a look here. Okay, there you go. A fish tagine. Do you want to help?
Sure.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
For like 20-25 minutes and they will come back for it later.
There you go. This is wild. So somebody just made that at home. They brought it here, and
Yes.
he's gonna bake it up. And then he has some kind of internal clock, so he knows how long all the food has been inside.
Yes.
That's remarkable. Is that one for me? Thank you, my guy. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know what? They told me it might be hot. Can I tell you? Pretty hot. Yes. Take a look how steamy that is. Here you go.
Thank you.
Let's go for it. Oh, yeah.
Can you taste the wood flavor?
Good question. A little bit. It's a little bit different than like a gas oven. I would say especially in the texture. Maybe not as much in the flavor for me, but in the way that it feels. What do you think?
I used to it
You've had this, what, every day for your whole life?
5 times a day.
No, the only thing that's missing, really, flavor. And that's why we're headed to our next destination.
Yes.
To find out if Moroccan cuisine truly deserves the title of best in the world, I need to dig into its most iconic dishes. First up, a dish with a cooking method so unique you won't find it anywhere else.
We're about to get our first taste of Moroccan cuisine here at a restaurant known as The Second Wife. To my side, we have a traditional Moroccan barbecue firing away, but we are not here for that. Oh no, my friend. We are here for one of the most iconic Moroccan dishes you will find in this country, right here, the tagine. This is it in its final form. But how did we get here? Let's go find out.
There are countless variations of tagine, but at this restaurant, you can choose from the classics: beef, lamb, or chicken. First, garlic, parsley, salt, pepper, ground ginger, turmeric, and olive oil are added to the base. The whole mix is then buried under a layer of onions before moving on to the next step. For the vegetables, it's a colorful lineup of potatoes, zucchini, carrots, and green beans, all arranged in a neat wall around the coveted protein. To top it off, a slice of lemon and tomato.
All right, folks, our tagine is fully constructed and it's ready to meet some heat. This is amazing because this is both a cooking tool and a type of dish. And how it works is you heat the base and then the heat slowly rises up the center of the cone and drips down. It creates a self-basting environment, which is perfect for slow cooking meats like chicken or like what we have today, goat.
Before we reveal the final result, how about some food for your soul?
Thank you to BetterHelp for being a paid partner of this video. For years, I've been telling you to try BetterHelp, and now someone's been spending way too much time trying to explain to help. I can schedule my life. Just you and your... I wouldn't want to stress out the driver with all my problems. The best part is that if I feel at any point the therapist is not a good match, switching is free and easy. BetterHelp also has a built-in journal and group sessions on real topics you might go for a special... My first taste of Moroccan cuisine awaits. Before we open these up, I want to tell you a little bit about my mission today. Gordon Ramsay says that Moroccan cuisine is the best in the world. Now, to be fair, I think he was kind of reporting it. There was a big vote put out on a website called puberty.com. They amassed millions of views, and at the end of it all, among many dozens of countries, it was voted that Moroccan cuisine was the best in the world.
What do you think?
By the end of today, I'm going to find out for myself if this is true.
Sure.
It's very robust, full of stuff. Soon we'll be building up to something else right here, but first we have the chicken with the vegetables.
Let's go for the bread.
Take the bread, break the bread.
And then we dip it.
We should not have two tagines. Same great bread. I can taste olive oil, I can taste the lemon. So at what point do we like...
Go to inside?
Yeah.
Normally we need to finish the whole veggies, then we go to the inside.
Oh, really?
Normally.
So this whole time you are not using a fork?
No.
Really?
At all.
How's that like?
Not Moroccan.
I can't do anything right.
No, but you're good.
I'm amazed by this meal. I'm surprised. I had a preconceived notion of how this was gonna work, and it's not working out that way at all.
Try to mix chicken and something else. Careful, there is a bone in here.
Oh, thank you. Wow. When you get to the center, you get that meat, you get the caramelized onions, and the meat that's been cooking right up against that clay. Super good. So that is the chicken, but we also have one more tagine I want to try.
This is goat meat with caramelized prunes, a mix between savory and sweet.
I got my little red gloves, and there's kind of a soupy broth.
Weird.
It's a new sensation. Something I've never had before, but all those flavors work together beautifully. But it's very sweet.
Some people don't accept like meat with something sweet, but in Morocco it's very normal and very famous.
I accept all types of meat.
Cool.
Thank you. So I want to try to peel back some of this meat with the bread. Ooh, look at that. It's very goaty, plus just all this sweet stuff surrounding it. So it's sweet, it's savory, it's fatty. Somehow a walnut snuck in there. I got nuts in my mouth. It's everything all at the same time. A very new experience, I gotta say. It's so complex and so different, and I've never had anything like this before.
Soon I'll be tracking down one of Morocco's most precarious pastries.
Nothing here would indicate to me that this is anything but a dessert. Meanwhile, inside, it's full of pigeon meat, and not just any type of pigeon, like a teenager pigeon.
But first, I'm heading back to the Medina to check off another Moroccan must-try food.
We have come to our next restaurant, a restaurant specializing in a dish known as couscous. Couscous, the base of it begins with this right here. This is semolina flour. But what is semolina?
Yellow semolina, it's very famous coming from wheat.
It comes from wheat?
Known for its distinct yellow hue and high protein content, semolina on its own can be a bit rough, but mixing it with salt, olive oil, water, and white flour create a perfect balance of soft and firm. A texture that's just right for making proper couscous.
Couscous is a traditional dish. Friday is a Muslim holiday, so we make normally a couscous for the whole family, and we share.
Making couscous is a labor-intensive process with origins dating back a millennia, often traced to the Berber people of Algeria and Morocco.
There's some tread as she moves the couscous around. These bigger balls are becoming smaller balls because you don't want big chunks, but you also don't want to put in too much water and get like one big glob, and you also don't want dust like this. You need the perfect texture for the couscous. This is the final result right here. It looks amazing. From a super thin flour to these tiny balls. It feels damp, it feels kind of grippy. That's a weird word. Like if you were gonna lift weights or do pull-ups, you could put this on your hands first. So this is the base, this is the foundation of our dish, but there's a lot more to do coming up next. Let's get to it.
In a pot, beef, onions, salt, pepper, turmeric, tomato, chickpeas, olive oil, parsley, and some water come together. But it's not truly Moroccan until you throw in a load of vegetables, like cabbage, carrots, radish, potatoes, zucchini, eggplant, pumpkin, and of course, even more tomato. Above the stew, a steaming vessel is placed on the same pot. This clever setup, called a couscousier, uses the heat and steam from the bubbling stew below to cook the couscous to fluffy perfection.
The couscous is just a small part of the entire presentation, but on top of it, there are so many different vegetables. This is like real farm food, I feel like. Would you agree with that assessment? Perfect. That's what I do too. When I don't understand something, I do an uncomfortable laugh, and then I look like, did that satisfy? We good? From here, she's putting on a sweet element, caramelized onion and raisins, and I'm finally gonna get to try out this beauty. Fatima has moved on to our next location to secure the animal for our next food, which is a live pigeon. More on that soon, but first, the couscous, a fortress of vegetables. Deep in the core, there is meat. But like the tagine, they make you work your way through the vegetables to get to the protein. What is that, a zucchini? Good carrot. We have the cabbage, and I feel like you could spice that up with some of this on top, the onions and raisins. Oh yeah, what a combination. Of course, the raisins are sweet, but I'm noticing that in Morocco so far, they love to caramelize onions and to use it as a sweet force within the dish. This is what I'm really curious to try, the actual couscous itself. The couscous doesn't have a ton of flavor, but it's a kind of a flavor vehicle. You put other flavors on there, and it just offers this wonderful texture, and it's a nice carbohydrate base. Meanwhile, we've got soup on the side right here. That broth, I'm gonna give that a little bit of a sip. Oh yeah. And what I'm told is you can actually dump some of this soup. You can really saturate that couscous in those delicious flavors. Oh yeah. The couscous really effectively saturates or soaks up all those flavors. So far, we've just had vegetables and the couscous, but inside, as you dig deep into the core of this dish, you will reveal the meat. We've got beef right here, more, ow, so hot. Okay, there you go. How is that 10 out of 10 hot still? It tastes amazing. I love it. And the fattier the beef, the better. With as many countries as I've been to, I'm still seeing new ways of cooking and different ways of utilizing savory and sweet elements and combining them into something like this. So this is couscous, but I am still well on my way to figuring out if Moroccan cuisine is really the best in the world, as voted on by millions of people on puberty.com. And our next food actually includes the use of a pigeon. Before we head to the restaurant, we are headed to the market to actually source this animal for ourselves. From the couscous, we are headed to our next destination, which brings us even deeper into the Medina. Right now, we are surrounded by markets which have things like this, hanging food, but I'm looking for something much more alive. Come with me. Deep down this alleyway here, you will find a man serving birds. This guy right here. Hello, salam. You got those pigeons? Oh, okay. I'm gonna try to access his bird room right now. Okay, can you hold me? Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Shukran, shukran. All right, guys, come in. You're next. Right now I'm with my man Hisham, and he is the bird guy, the bird dealer. He's got birds of a few different types. If you look down here, a load of different chickens to choose from. And when I say choose from, I mean you can literally point to which chicken you want, and he will, right?
Yes.
Yes. Besides the chickens, he also has these right here, pigeons. Oh, okay, there we go. Oh, wow, that's a scraggly one. I'm a huge fan of countries where they eat pigeon. It's one of those birds I feel like it's underutilized, it's looked down on by many parts of the world, but why not embrace the pigeon? It's like a quail, except I think it flies better. From here, we're gonna round up about 6 to 8 of these pigeons, but first he's got to, right?
Yes.
If you haven't noticed, all the meat we've eaten today has been prepared the halal way, following Islamic rules, and it's no different for these pigeons. The chef who I'll be meeting soon has requested that I procure the most premium preteen pigeons.
We have just come back from the bird butcher, and our pile of pigeons is right there, and that soon is gonna be cooked up by Suad right here.
Hi, nice to meet you. You're welcome.
Should I say pastilla or pastilla?
Moroccan, we say pastela.
Is this a meal, a snack, or a dessert?
A lot of people think it's a dessert, but it's a meal.
What's the most common type of meat to put inside?
Pigeon is very traditional, but chicken is a regular.
Let's get to cooking. Thank you.
Okay.
First, the pigeons are marinated with turmeric, ground ginger, salt, garlic, parsley, olive oil, saffron, and water. Once cooked, the meat is carefully picked off the bones, preparing it for the next step. In another pot, caramelized onions are cooked with flour, ground ginger, and eggs. This sweet, savory mixture is then combined with the pigeon meat, creating a rich, flavorful filling. Now onto the pastry. In the streets of the Medina, dough is pressed and coated with olive oil, then placed on a unique dome-like cooking implement that heats it evenly all the way through. For assembly, a few sheets of pastry brushed with egg yolk form the base. The meat mixture is added next, followed by another sheet of pastry to seal it in. The whole thing is wrapped tightly and sent to the oven. Once baked, the pastry is brushed with honey, topped with almonds, some Moroccan puff pastries in the center, rose petals, a sprinkle of ground cinnamon, and finally a dusting of powdered sugar. The result, a complex pastry with a serious identity crisis.
Let's get into it. I'm gonna stab it right in the middle and bring the hammer down. Oh yeah. If the pigeon wasn't dead before, it's definitely dead now. Oh, there we go. Incredible. Here we've got that crunchy top. We've got that pigeon meat in the middle, along with all those seasonings. There's so many different flavors. The egg is giving it a lot of body. Then there is some pigeon meat in there, but it's not super distinct which pieces are pigeon meat and which aren't. Once you peel back that top layer, you can see these big chunks of pigeon meat. Pigeon veal. Now I know why they have to be so young. It's so tender. It's so juicy. This is one of those dishes, I'm really trying to think hard of what I could compare it to. I got nothing. It's a pastry, it's a dessert, it's a breakfast kind of, it's a meat pie, it's all of those things at one time, yet somehow it works. There's a harmony. There's no flavor that's standing out far too much. It's a little bit sweet, a little bit savory. It's all the flavors you never knew you wanted together. I didn't know something like this could exist, and yet, here it is. The more I taste, the more I experience from this country, I don't feel like I'm able to pin down the cuisine. I feel even more lost. So, from here we are headed to one more location. And this location is really important because we're going to somebody's house to eat the food that is one of Gordon Ramsay's favorite in all of Morocco. Hopefully this last food puts the nail in the food coffin and I will know for sure if Moroccan cuisine is truly the best in the world. Let's head there and find out.
Having visited over 60 different countries in search of food, I've learned one thing. Nothing beats a home-cooked meal if you want to truly experience a country's culinary soul.
Thank you for joining us. Shamba,
Yeah.
you've outdone yourself. This looks amazing. This is the food that Gordon Ramsay said this was one of his favorite foods, not just of Morocco, but period.
I've met him in 2019.
Really?
Yes.
I think he's avoiding me. How long did you talk to him?
Just like for 30 minutes.
And you got to meet him too?
Not really.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
The star of her pizza is chicken, marinated in a fragrant mix of ginger, black pepper, turmeric, onion, and olive oil. The marinated chicken is then cooked with more onion, olive oil, a local legume called fenugreek, ground turmeric, ginger, and water, creating a rich aromatic broth.
When are people eating rafisa here? Because I was told that we could try to find this in a restaurant, but it's not really going to be possible.
Once cooked, the chickens are transferred to another pot, and the onions in the broth are caramelized, making them even more sweet and flavorful.
We do make rafisa in some special occasions, like celebrating the baby born.
The birth of a child.
Yeah. Or you do have some VIP.
Are you telling me this is something that might come up a few times in your life?
It's very special for these occasions.
I see.
But outside of those occasions, they cook it.
Now for the assembly. Large pieces of flatbread are hand shredded and laid at the base of the platter, ready to soak up the rich flavors of the chicken. The chicken stew poured on top, and of course, sweet clumps of caramelized onions. The platter is then adorned with fried almonds, dates stuffed with nuts and dried rosebuds, apricots filled with walnuts, quail eggs dusted with chia seeds, and roses nestled in pastry. Then there's garlic and boiled quail eggs, also coated with chia seeds.
So there's 3 chickens on here.
Triplet.
We're also kind of celebrating the birth of these chickens too.
They're dead.
Well, okay, that's a fair point. This is a quail egg covered with chia seeds.
The garlic.
Take one clove.
Squeeze it.
Oh, okay. Extract the garlic.
Yes. Mix it with the bread.
This is good. I can't believe how flavorful that bread is. It still holds its texture. So some parts are soggy and mushy, but some are kind of more chewy. It has a wonderful texture. Here, I've got some chicken. The chicken is succulent and soft. Onions. I love onions. I like them raw. I like them like this. They're caramelized, they're sweet. And then when you mix everything with that bread, it just gives it that carbohydrate layer to go with everything. I'm blown away. It's my favorite thing I've eaten all day. Unbelievable. It's so good.
I'm glad you like it.
Do you feel like Moroccan cuisine has a widespread reputation? I mean, do you think people know about it all around the world?
Yes, of course.
Why do you think Moroccan cuisine is so well known?
For me, I think because Morocco is very known by Moroccan cooking classes, and everyone is like very curious about the cuisine, or just because it's
Maybe because the Moroccans are everywhere.
yes.
That makes a big difference too. What is it about Moroccan cuisine that you can't get from other food around the world?
What attracts a lot of clients more is hospitality. We are very known that we are the most hospitable people. So once you go to a house, you always get welcomed by tea and pastries.
It goes beyond the food.
Yeah, beyond the food, of course.
This morning I set out with the mission of trying to figure out if Morocco really does have the best cuisine in the world. I've had a lot of good and interesting food throughout the day. It is tough to summarize somebody's cuisine in a day. It's such a subjective thing to say that this is the best or this is the best. But for you, Shema, do you believe Moroccan cuisine is the best, or is it just up to people's subjective opinion?
For me, isn't it about like subjective opinion? It is the best,
Oh yeah?
100%.
What's second best?
Italian,
Okay. Moroccan, Italian. Do you have a third place?
Asian food.
Just all of the Asia.
Yes.
Fantastic. So we reached consensus. People on the comments, you guys can duke it out for yourselves. I was gonna try to figure it out for myself, but Shema, thank you.
You're welcome.
This was an amazing meal, but an even better experience and incredible hospitality. So, shukran.
Marhaba.
Today I started out with the mission to figure out whether Moroccan cuisine is truly the best in the world, as voted on by puberty.com. By now it seems like they're paying me. They are not, although if they'd like to, please do. What I've realized from today is after having about 5 different dishes for the first time in Morocco, I have not gathered enough data. This is a perplexing, deep, historical cuisine. This is a cuisine that you cannot figure out in one day. It's like my palate is confused, but it's excited and tantalized at the same time. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna spend another week in Morocco to figure out if this is indeed the best cuisine in the world. And not only that, I'm gonna move to Casablanca, I'm gonna move to Essaouira, and I'm gonna go to Marrakesh. And finally, by the end of this tour, it will be revealed to me, and then to you, whether or not this country truly does have the best cuisine in the world. Or if puberty.com just has a lot of Moroccan viewers.
Hungry for more fun food videos? Join me at more Best Ever Food Review Show, a channel that's unfiltered, raw, half the quality, and twice the fun.
You walk away and come back. Oh, look, the server.
Subscribe now, and you probably won't regret it.
On the outside, it certainly has some rough texture to it. This is like a, medium grade sandpaper. If you have to refinish your car or something. And the chicken has a little bit less fat content. But here, oh look, of course.
That's a mule.
Okay. When is the last time you tried this?
I tried it with my last client.
Okay. Sounds like very official business. Very flavorful. People aren't just deep-throating carrots, are they? I shouldn't say that. And before we go, I want to say a huge thank you to Fatima for joining me today. She is a tour guide here in Fez, and you can actually book your own tour with her on her website, fabfeztours.com.
So on my website, you will find all different kinds of tours, which is history tours, like Jewish heritage tours, artisanal tours, photography tours, food tours. And thanks to Sani for being here. It was an honor to be with you. We'll see you maybe again, inshallah.
Inshallah. Otherwise, that is it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Peace. All right, that is it.
Good.
I'm going to go find some more bread. I didn't get enough bread
Okay.
today.
Back to this misunderstood Wild West era of MTV, where the most random, the most hardcore, the most whatever this is type of shows exist and in some cases thrive. From clearly staged reality shows, allegedly, to legacy building shows, to the shows that inspired a generation of kids and teens to pick up a camera and film themselves and their friends getting hurt. Welcome to the wild side of MTV in the 2000s.
Why isn't Pluto a planet anymore?
Pluto's not a planet anymore?
Punk'd. Literally, this show is single-handedly responsible for prank-based YouTube videos and people yelling out, "It's just a prank, bro," and I stand by that. Especially if they go by the show's original name. It fits the vibe of what those YouTube prank videos would be. Harassment. Punk'd really is a staple into this era of realizing that you can take cameras outside and shoot the real world, and make it a show of sorts. And we can even make that show dunking on the people who would least expect to get dunked on at that time. Celebrities. There was a time where there was this separation between the average everyday person and a celebrity because of this boundary between us and them. But thanks to social media and more instant access, the boundary and illusion is essentially gone. So to have a show pranking the most famous people at the time and watching them act with human emotions to certain situations could be pretty gratifying sometimes.
Can I go home now?
A weird celebrity diatribe aside, the show's premise was simple. Ashton Kutcher, who would host the show, would lead the production crew to put together elaborate setups surrounding whatever celebrity they can track down to put them in a situation and see how they react, most times with the hopes of an angry or emotionally distressed response. Okay, you know, maybe this show or concept was pretty messed up, but it's okay. In the end, Hollywood nice guy Ashton Kutcher comes out to tell the celeb that they just got punked.
I got punked, man, I got punked.
It's always okay to mess with someone's emotions as long as you film it and claim it was all a joke. From Frankie Muniz to George Lopez to Justin Timberlake to our good buddies the Ying Yang Twins. A vast variety of celebs would be featured on the show. Sometimes these celebs would help Ashton punk other celeb friends or even fill in for him as a guest host from time to time. Like I mentioned, the show was originally going to be called Harassment, and with a pretty similar concept minus the celebrity part, the show would prey on regular people with some even more messed up pranks, like a couple who were at the Las Vegas Hard Rock Hotel finding a dead body. That's so fun, right? Well, that emotional distress ended in a lawsuit for $10 million against Ashton Kutcher, MTV, and the hotel. So that version of the show shot in 2002 never came to be, but the following year, the show would become punked, because why would rich celebrities sue? They're rich and they want to look perfect in the public eye. Some of my favorite parts would be the kid who interviews at special events, as I thought they were pretty good. Definitely a lot more harmless in the grand scheme of things, so that's nice.
Oh, you're the cutest thing. You grew up in Beverly Hills, right? No, honey. That's okay.
But the end of the original run of the show would finish off with this special Punk'd Awards show before the series would come back in 2012, with different celebrity hosts who were really popular at the time getting their own episodes to prank other celebs and their friends. People from Bam Margera to Miley Cyrus to Tyler the Creator to Justin Bieber and many more all took the reins to host the show, even having Ashton come back for an episode for old time's sake. While this version didn't last that long, this show just didn't want to die. Pranking content was big on YouTube, but the mainstream seemed to not care as much for it on TV. BET would then try their hand at a reboot a few years later with King Batch and Daystorm Power, which was reaching right into the online sector of entertainment. Again, this version didn't last long either, but another chance was given, literally. Thanks to the now dead content platform Quibi, Punk'd came back, hosted by Chance the Rapper. And while he had a big day with the show having its resurgence, death, and re-resurgence on the Roku app once Quibi died, nothing has seemed to come from it since. Okay, let's cleanse the palate a little bit after Punk'd. Where it would be in the spirit of making people mad, let's now look at people being made. With MTV's Made, a show that would focus on different young people and help build them into the career field that they want to be in.
I want to see if I can take my wisecracking to the next level, maybe even a career.
It's labeled as a self-improvement show, as each person would have a made coach that would fit within their specific field of expertise the main focus of the episode would be, as we then spend the next month or two within an episode with them, seeing how well they work towards their life goals. From athletes to musicians to filmmakers, the show did a great job at bringing you into the world of the next generation, giving you a time capsule look into the, at the time, landscape of where these people wanted to be and what they wanted to be. If this show were still going on, I bet there would be episodes about making people into content creators or streamers, which in a way can kind of be all of that depending on what hobbies or interests you'd want to showcase online. Like if you want to be a mechanic, there's nothing nothing stopping you from making a YouTube channel where you get to showcase your hobby of putting together a car, or streaming you working in your garage on a car. So now the possibilities are kind of endless with what you can do.
Kind of shy, comes off a little awkward.
I need some serious help with the ladies.
But the show would run for 11 years from 2003 to 2014 with 280 episodes in total. And so the overlap of ambitions was pretty constant as the seasons would go on, where some would have some pretty ambitious dreams they'd want to achieve, and some, well, they just want to be the homecoming queen. Although it can feel repetitive, having a pretty standard format, just with situations and goals changing, it overall has a good, inspiring vibe to it that really contrasts heavily to a lot of the, well, other content on MTV. Nothing sold quite like seeing other people in terror on TV. I mean, Fear Factor was all the rage at one point, and now we've upgraded as a society to do these no-look box challenges because we never learn. So taking some factors out, we are left with just fear. A show that would test contestants' fright tolerances by being left at haunted locations, or at least stated haunted locations, where over the course of a couple nights, the contestants would start out in a safe house, which would be the only part of the area not haunted, coincidentally, and everyone would be tasked with challenges or dares, and if someone is too freaked out and wants to leave and can't complete their dare, they lose their share of the prize money, and in the end, if there are people left, they collect $5,000.
Oh my god, I can't believe I'm going out again.
2 nights in a scary location where off-screen there's probably a full staff of production crew somewhere to help me if things got bad for real to win $5K? That's so easy. Maybe that's just me being cocky, or maybe that's just me not being a bit. Honestly, stuff like this sounds really fun. The challenges would range from your average ghost hunting stuff to then doing things that would probably disrespect the dead, and okay, maybe at that point I'd only be uncomfortable because of the disrespect. But they did get to shoot the show at some fun locations for the 16 episodes that it ran for 2 seasons. Military bases, aircraft carriers, private resorts, penitentiaries, sanatoriums. All that seems like a fun time with some spectacular specters if you'd ask me. But they didn't. I was a kid at the time this show came out, but I would have been a contestant in a heartbeat. Okay, Pimp My Ride is one of the most famous shows from this era. It needs no real introduction, but we will show it respect and give it one.
Since Josh loves a snowboard, a 7-inch monitor in your board!
Car culture, specifically when it comes to customization and tricked out whips, was huge in the 2000s. MTV wanted to showcase this through a mixed reality medium, which I will get into, but Exhibit, the host of the show, who taught me about the difference between me and you, and that's 5 bank accounts, 3 ounces, and 2 vehicles. But he also taught me about pimping out some rides, turning some of the most generic, boring cars you'd see on the road, and having West Coast Customs turn them into some impractical jokes of actual use. But hey, they look really cool, and I guess that's all that matters.
We have your airplane times for your hijet.
This was the most commented thing on my previous video to cover, which of course I had it on my list, but I'm glad to see so many people have an interest in discussing it with me today. The concept of this show is very simple. We start out seeing a person in their car, which wouldn't be great, it would be falling apart, and it would be their plea asking for their ride to be pimped, where Exhibit shows up as a surprise to that person's house.
Oh, okay, that's it. Give me the keys.
He takes their car, brings it to West Coast Customs, and the car would transform in front of your eyes from basic to ballin', from busted to bussin'. I just threw up in my mouth. But we would get to see all the little details they would make from their conception, how it could be made to the final product being ready to be shown off to the person when they would come back in to pick up their car. It's so simple, but why was there so much controversy around this show? Well, apparently, so much of this supposed real show was fake, allegedly. Some people who were on the show would claim this to be true, or even from the get-go where the houses we would meet the car owners at to what the condition of their car truly is in when they show it off before the pimpening. The reactions of seeing the final cars would be shot multiple times, being helped by the production for the contestants to act more surprised or excited when they see their car, rather than any sort of real authentic reaction.
Oh, baby! What you think? I don't even know what I'm thinking, man.
Check this out.
Oh!
But the biggest thing here would be the loss of access to their car. So this whole pimpin' process, well, it would take around a month and a half to do, not the quick couple-day turnaround the show makes it seem like, with the person whose car this is being left to figure out their own transportation with no help in the meantime, which you may be able to forgive if you look at it from the perspective of, oh, well, you're getting this sick brand new version of your car for free. But what if that free car you get back is worse? When it came to the cars themselves, they would be filled with a bunch of non-practical and useless features that wouldn't even match who the person who owns the car is. But we would be made to believe the opposite sometimes. From staging personal stories so the crew can make something in the car that looks cool to us, but truly means nothing to the person who gets it back. Or even random things that would be inside jokes or personal jabs at the owner of the vehicle. But beyond that, just driving them would be a problem, with some of them now just weighing too much that they would constantly get scraped, stuck, or just not work as a functional, practical car. Now, again, I say allegedly, but hey, at least it's reported that Exhibit was a nice person, and that's all that matters, right?
You know, X, can't thank you enough.
The show was a big deal for the network, being one of their most popular shows and ran for 6 seasons, with the final 2 seasons no longer having West Coast Customs be the car pimpers, but instead Galpin Auto Parts, or GAS. Hey, remember Nickelodeon GAS, you know, games and sports? Well, I'm working on a big video for that sometime this year. Just a random early teaser for you. Now, something I really didn't touch on in my last video was that MTV would have other versions of the same show for different territories around the world, and of course, Pimp My Ride was no stranger to that, with Pimp My Ride UK, Pimp My Ride International, Pimp My Ride Brazil, Pimp My Ride Baltic, Pimp My Ride France, and Pimp My Car Indonesia. I don't know what happened to that last one with the title scheme there. But MTV would take the pimpin' further when it came to other countries too, with the best titled one, Pimp My Whatever. And hey, look, a video game where you can ghost ride the whip. Neat. I guess you can say, pimpin' ain't easy. I just threw up in my mouth again.
All right.
Rap music in the 90s and 2000s was huge, so of course Hollywood was there to try and make profitable cringe with it, downright disrespecting it and making celebrities look even worse than you could think. I present you Celebrity Rap Superstar.
These guys are really sweet.
To the white, to the blue, God bless America.
A show that would take 8 celebrities as they would be coached by rappers themselves to perform songs where viewers would vote for them to make it to the next round. Yeah, this show didn't last long, only 1 season with 8 episodes, but they sure did stuff it with things to watch.
I want to see some panties drop.
Over the 8 weeks, these 8 contestants featuring people like Kendra Wilkerson and Perez Hilton, no, not Paris Hilton. That Simple Life video is in the works, everyone. Relax. But like I said, instead we have Perez Hilton. Great.
What'd I do wrong? Everything.
They would all get trained by coaches like Too Short, MC Light, Warren G, Bizarre, Redman, Bubba Sparks, Tone Loc, and Corrupt to perform a bunch of hit rap songs, with each week having a specific rule, like performing a song they rehearsed, perform one they wrote, or even have to learn to fast rap when Twista stopped by as a guest judge. In the end, Shar Jackson would win after going up against Kendra, and the judges for the show would be Big Boy, DeBrat, and DMC, which was cool, but did you know that Kevin Hart was a host of this show? Oh, and speaking of DMC, whose house? Run's house. As the other half of Run DMC, Rev Run would have his own family-based reality show on the network.
Go to your room, you go do what you want.
Here, the cameras would follow Run and his family, from him and the majority of his family being in New Jersey and filming in Manhattan. Now, why did they need to follow Run's life and household specifically? What was the special hook here?
Hope floats, so let it rise.
I really can't tell you that. As far as Run DMC goes, I'm a big fan and grew up being shown their music. But here the show would just follow this family as they deal with family things, and sometimes some incredibly personal moments, like allowing the camera crew to be in the hospital when they lost a baby at birth and how the family reacts to it.
Love each other, continue to go to church like we do, and we'll still have a family.
The most interesting hook for the show that I can find was that Run, who was this incredibly important to hip-hop rapper, became this ordained minister as he sends out words of wisdom from his BlackBerry while living in and luxury. Which, hey, I have nothing wrong with that. Enjoy the riches you've earned in life, by all means. But when you hear things like, who said a man of God is supposed to drive a Pinto, as he was speaking to his congregation, and then following up with, the money's all supposed to go to the doctors and lawyers, and the man of God is broken down on the highway, he's God's sacred person, and he can't live good? All right, Kenneth Copeland, relax.
It's unbecoming for a preacher to live a life of luxury.
It takes a lot of money to do what we do. We wrestle not with flesh and blood, but principalities and powers. God bless, Father bless Lisa today.
But again, nothing wrong with enjoying your riches, no matter what field you work in, or in this case, gave yourself to. But like, I don't think one thing automatically makes you deserving of being just ridiculously rich. Your music did that, which is great, but why am I no longer getting words of wisdom on my BlackBerry? From one house to another house, MTV's Movie House was the place to be.
I want to see the thickness, man. Bring the thickness.
Where would be this place to get exclusive access to behind the scenes of movies, the people involved, and even audience reactions of screenings of the hottest, newest films, like 8 Mile at the time.
If you can do it in rap, you can do it as an actor.
There we would get some information from Eminem about his time making the film, as the host would talk about some fun facts, and even more information about the actor's career, or in this case, like Eminem, his music career, his music video shoots, and more.
What's up, Movie House? Thank you for coming out.
Or you'd have celebrities speaking to celebrities, like Master P asking Hayden Christensen if he is going to win Kiss of the Year.
Think you're gonna be up for Kiss of the Year?
It was an alright kiss.
Or this.
She's a pretty girl. It wasn't that hard to do.
You hear?
Yeah, it was clearly a time to be alive. From special preview clips to instant theater reactions, Movie House would be all about the movies, and as a movie fan, yeah, I'm at home here. Especially when we would cut away to these video store segments and check out the latest movies to rent and watch on VHS with a bunch of recommendations. And all of this was hosted by the most 2000s person that I couldn't have fathomed to try and come up with in my head, Nick Zano.
You guys have been great, and I've been Nick Zano.
God bless this show. Probably the most influential show of my generation, Jackass really took doing random and dumb stuff with your friends to a whole new level.
A lot of shack humping wee man.
From sheer stupidity to unsuspecting pranks, Jackass was the definition of every one of your friends living up to the name of the show. It's perfect counterculture reality TV, or maybe anti-reality. It's stuff like other casual vote-off romance shows, singing competitions, and whatever something like parental control is. Check out my last MTV video for that show. And we consider all of that reality, while it's allegedly highly planned out or manipulated to be something. Jackass would show you a side of society where this group of degenerates actually, with no BS, were all about really getting hurt and truly performing the stunts seen on screen. It didn't matter if the show stated that these were professionals. No, they weren't, at least not at first, leading to so many kids and teens to pick up cameras and film each other doing their own stunts. And the rise of video sharing platforms really helped showcase this. Thanks to Johnny Knoxville wanting to find some sort of work in Hollywood to take care of his family, going as far as to test out all of these self-defense products on himself, because whatever it takes to make it in La La Land, he was willing to endure physical pain when no one would cover this because of the major liabilities. He was contacted by Jeff Tremaine, who at the time worked as an editor on the skateboarding magazine Big Brother. This is where everything really started coming together. Jeff wanted Johnny to go through with this torturous performance and said it should be filmed. He was sprayed with pepper spray, hit with a taser, and tested out a bulletproof vest.
I'm Johnny Knoxville, United States of America.
Hitman! Arch!
With connections from other contributors at Big Brother such as Wee Man, Dave England, Steve-O, and Chris Pontius. But obviously, there are still some major puzzle pieces missing. Enter the CKY crew, a mixture of everything counterculture at the time. What weren't they? A rock band? Yeah. A group of skateboarders? Yeah. A bunch of knuckleheads with a camera filming pranks and stunts with each other? Absolutely. This is where we get to meet Bam Margera, an on-the-rise professional skateboarder located in Westchester, Pennsylvania, along with his friends Ryan Dunn, Brandon DiCamillo, Brandon Novak, Rake Yan, Rab himself, and different members of Bam's family, which would play a larger factor in a different series that we will talk about about shortly. These CKY videos would be legendary underground-esque tapes that would heavily influence the way skaters showed off their personalities, and it wasn't long before Jeff caught wind of this and wanted to meet with Bam, resulting in thinking him and the rest of CKY would be this perfect fit for this new show he was putting together with both Johnny Knoxville and Spike Jones, which I just think it's so funny how Spike does all of this work in front of and behind the camera for everything Jackass related, but then will go and make films like Being John Malkovich, Adaptation, and Her. It's almost as funny as the Mad Max series director George Miller also making the Happy Feet movies. A short demo would send 3 networks into a bidding war for who wants the show the most: FX, Comedy Central, and MTV. MTV would prove to offer the strongest deal to them, where creative control would be more so in their hands than the networks, which alone is a massive deal, especially when dealing with such an offbeat show. Finally, the crew would round off with people like Danger Aaron and Preston Lacey, and this group would go on to live in history as the biggest idiots with the biggest balls put to television, and eventually, the big screen. This show blew up. The views and the ratings were through the roof for the network, as what can you even say you're watching? It was the Wild West for trying new things on TV, and oh boy, was this different than any other show on TV at the time. Half of the stuff that they would do, I can't even describe, as it would be visual vomit-inducing or cringeworthy only in the aspect of feeling the pain in the places they were receiving it in. I can handle 99% of anything that they have ever shown, but there is one moment from all of the Jackass media out there that physically makes me feel pain, and it hurts me to watch. You know the webbing between your fingers and toes? You know how sensitive those areas are and all that? Well, what if you got paper cuts there? Willingly. Yeah, that's what keeps me up at night. That and still waiting for my words of wisdom message on my BlackBerry. Where is it? But the show brought on some attention from the wrong people. Regardless of the warnings plastered throughout the show, a Connecticut senator named Joe Lieberman, yeah, this goober, wanted smoke with MTV, trying to get them to be more responsible with airing shows like this in efforts to protect the children. Which, yeah, I get it. But also, the warnings protect this. It's also a show that's provided as entertainment, and hey, parents should be protecting their kids more so than the government interfering with what a network can or can't show, especially if it's already falling under the legal guidelines. Sadly, this caused MTV, while under this criticism, to push the show back to later night airings and stop a lot of the reruns of older episodes, which of course didn't sit right with the crew and stars of the show, and this is what caused the show's 25-episode run to be cut there. But not long after, MTV would still help put together and produce Jackass the Movie, bringing everyone back together for this farewell to the series, and for this whole idea as a whole. Yeah, sadly, this was going to be the end for this concept, but it was going to go out in style with a movie, so that's not too bad, I guess. But when your film ends up at #1 at the box office, making over $60 million in the US alone on a $5 million budget, yeah, you come back together and make more of this. With the sequel movie coming out 4 years later in 2006, a 3D third movie in 2011, and a fourth movie titled Forever in 2022, in which that one served as a real goodbye from the original older cast for the most part, as we would also meet a new generation of younger Daredevils who grew up on the original show. There were spin-off movies like Bad Grandpa, Matt Hoffman's tribute to Evel Knievel, the Gumball 3000 Rally special, and even special documentaries for each movie featuring even more stunts labeled as .5s. And there was even a video game. But it's what else was spawned from this Jackass cinematic and telematic universe that really made us build relationships to other people from the show even more. While some would be larger than others, some smaller shows like Homewrecker would come out, with Ryan Dunn hosting.
I'm Ryan Dunn from Viva La Bam. I'm here to help you get revenge on a jerk in your life who has done you wrong.
Or Blastozoid, where Brandon and Rake and another CKY member, Joe France, were trying to make a live-action version of video games that you can physically play, along with being a clip show of funny user-generated video game-inspired clips, as they put it.
Check it out.
But there were two major shows that spawned legs of their own from this initial crew. And first, probably the most popular one being Viva La Bam. Yeah, this was just CKY if CKY was given a budget to do whatever they wanted to do.
Hey, traitor.
Bam Margera was quite the fan favorite among so many out there, enjoying his bad boy look with his goofy and extremely reckless attitude. All the show would be is Bam, along with his friends and family, just doing things. Most times there is some goal that Bam has to create or do something for that episode to make it interesting, but all the other stuff would be filled in with them pulling pranks on his parents, making Don Vito have an unintelligible fit, and a little bit of skateboarding for good measure, of course. But I can't understate the amount of money that was flowing in from MTV for this show. From the massive upgrade from the house to the castle in season 2, to the funding of the ridiculous ideas he had.
Wanna go?
Yeah.
Well, let me land.
Like building a giant treehouse casino, a skate park. In fact, he'd get around $300,000 an episode to spend $260,000 of it on whatever he wanted, literally turning this whole castle and property into Bam's own version of a fantasy factory before the real Rob Dyrdek era of MTV was coming. While the show over the 5 seasons would ramp up in the amount of pranks, the annoying the parental figures moments, and the all-out chaos sometimes, there was a clear shift happening from Bam the skateboarder to Bam the guy just doing crazy things for the camera. His skateboarding took a backseat to the show and the entertainment side of his life, which would ultimately affect him later on beyond this. But he made sure to do more and more crazy things with the concepts of what him and his friends are doing that day. And God save you if you were Bam's family, as sleeping, eating, and even going to the restroom could result in Bam pranking you, or him beating you up, or him just in general making your life constantly filled with dread, making sure you keep one eye open when you sleep. Filled with celebrity cameos of friends from every aspect of the entertainment and sports industries, Bam was having the time of his life and was trying to keep up this lifestyle until it was time to take a break from filming, ending the show, but with the constant buildup of more from Bam being thrust more into entertainment than just skateboarding, really just becoming this brand that can sell without him really riding as much. How could you want to stop it? Money from his branding, his shows, the video games he was in, TV commercials, you name it. Bam was loaded with cash, and maybe around the same time as the second Jackass movie, he found the one thing that could fill a void he didn't know that was there. Wild Boys was exactly what the title describes it as, with our 2 hosts being Steve-O and Chris Pontius giving their unique take on travel and animal shows by getting history lessons in both different cultures
This is for my weed.
And the various animals around the world. Along with being right in the strike zone, acting as test dummies when some of these animals may attack.
Don't worry, that was perfectly safe.
So yeah, there were still a bunch of stunts, just more so focusing on pain tolerance from both of these Wild Boys. They were tempting fate on more than one occasion, and it was all for our enjoyment. But through this pain and suffering, we got to learn.
The average shark is about 12 foot and 1,000 pounds.
Yes, we would legitimately get to learn about these areas we would visit, the animals that live there, and any of the traditions that we would take place in with these 2. While most of the shows like this, like The Crocodile Hunter, were more so solely educational based, with at least Steve Irwin still getting very hands-on, Steve-O and Chris, well, they're not so knowledgeable, and they lack the proper training and readiness to be in these situations.
Why do I have to be so fat?
That was awesome, dude.
Jeff Tremaine would follow over to this show and serves the same role, and it would become its own little show that still had all the spirit of the last one, especially since previous cast members and friends would show up sometimes. But Wild Boys would come to an end, especially once they realized that at what point are they just making a derivative of their previous show? And with the sequel movie happening, what would be the point? But to still keep that Wild Boys theme living on, certain stunts in Jackass number 2 would specifically be in relation to the Wild Boys, and all was right in the world. The show came full circle, and hopefully everyone had a good time. Painful time, but hopefully a good one. Hey, Bam found that void he was missing, a significant other.
This is not Viva La Bam. This is your wedding show.
So now we get the sequel series to Viva La Bam called Bam's Unholy Union. And for the majority of the content within it, it was your usual Viva La Bam lifestyle with pranks and stunts, but now we get this nicer, more relaxed, for the most part, side where his bride-to-be, Missy, was working with Bam's mother to get things ready and plan their wedding.
If you don't want to have a big wedding, we don't have to have a big wedding. Seriously, don't.
It was the taming of the skater boy, but everything would fall apart for the show and end after one season, once the producers of the show wanted Bam and Missy to get pregnant and focus on having a baby for season 2. Either that or fake a pregnancy. But in addition to this being the final straw, Missy was not meant for the entertainment world and disliked being on TV. So to ask for something so personal, to just lay it all out there on full display for television, was not going to happen.
I can't believe you're having second thoughts.
So the show would end after one season, and the Viva La Bam era, at least in this sense, was over. Much like our stunt-filled cast of Daredevils, they helped introduce their motorized counterparts, Nitro Circus.
Oh no! Is she okay?
A group of daredevils that take on action sports, mainly being known for their dirt bike stunts, but not being limited to just that, for the stuff that they would do in the show and eventual 3D film in theaters, seeing the success of the 3D Jackass movie. Led by Travis Pastrana, it would just be a lot more of the crazy stuff you'd like from the other guys, just now with a lot more airtime and different kinds of risks. It's a fun time if you like daredevils that are trying to actually perform cool stunts without getting hurt, instead of people performing stunts in the goal of getting hurt. Last episode of the MTV Look Back, we talked about Next, this weird, totally real show. Real was in air quotes if you couldn't hear it in my voice. And now we're talking about Exposed, as this was seen as the next version of Next, the spiritual successor, or the spiritual sucker.
Yo, you got me in there, Jordan?
Because, oh baby, the RV is back. No longer is the next bus around. We have the Exposed RV that would be disguised in plain sight with some high-tech gizmos, gadgets, and whoosy-what's-its. They're all just there for show, of course, as a friend would sit in the RV and monitor the dates their friend would go on.
So you can hear me when I rat these girls out.
And communicate with them through an earpiece to let them know when the dates are lying about something, thanks to this lie detector technology or whatever. If you're wondering if the dialogue in the show, when the people talk to the camera, is that good old MTV cringe, well, you'd be absolutely correct.
Yeah, let's do this. Do you get lime? Does he need some eating limes?
No, I've got the booty. You like?
Yeah.
Devin, you've lied.
We even get these moments where the dates would smack talk each other.
So much hotter than you. Have you been to the gym lately?
Do some push-ups.
Yeah, I've seen better acting on other websites, and here there is nothing more than the bad acting. It's all cringe and totally not real. Allegedly. God, these shows were just so cheap to make, but I think that's why I find them oddly charming. Like, just look at this set. We were just on the edge of this public beach, shooting this awkward dialogue-driven scene where they talk on this couch bed thing, and since the guy here is British, they have a fake Big Ben in the background.
Why are you looking all seductive while taking that banger? What's all that about?
It's just so delicious. I can't play with props. I like the real thing.
Can we check, please?
This show is literally just shoot wherever the RV pulls up to. The friend in the RV would tell the dater to ask some very forward questions to test the date's lies or truth-telling abilities, all unbeknownst to the dates who are being subjected to these tests.
Real. Yep, it's real though.
They're really nice.
Let me see. No.
Ready?
Nice. He said nice.
But then once the dater reveals it and offers them one last chance to tell the truth, right at the end to see if there were any lies they want to come forward about,
I've got to tell you that you've both been exposed. Is there anything you want to come clean about, Gracie?
it comes down to, is he going to pick the honest person? It really doesn't matter. The dater here picks whoever they want based on their own merits.
Devin.
Wrestler.
Good riddance. I'm gonna go party.
It doesn't matter if you were more truthful. If your lies were just somehow more appealing and he knows they were lies but just still likes you, he's gonna pick you.
Get exposed.
The Big Urban Myth Show was like YouTube deep dives today into the most random and seemingly unimportant mysteries to ones that you're not sure if what you're being fed is the truth.
Like so many myths with Tupac, we believe it.
Hosted by Allison Hannigan, we would cut to random experiments that live on for a couple of minutes, from toilet seat testing
Swap the toilet at a popular college bar
to gang-related traditions.
Flashing your lights lead to your life flashing before your eyes.
The show had a very simple premise, mixed with some of that 2000s fast-paced editing, and the use of so many popular rap songs at the time, while we have doctors or scientists debunk facts about everything, while random people on the street or on college campuses would be asked their opinions on whatever matter was being brought up.
I have no idea. I've never licked a toad.
You know, even though it's really not that ridiculous of a show, there is some fun here with the quick-paced editing, and hopefully real enough facts that you get to learn something new you didn't know before you watched. With the pattern of MTV reality shows, something like Sorority Life was inevitable, right?
I'm a big weirdo, so...
Well, while the show focuses on sororities, their pledges, and all the drama that comes with that, this show was not nearly as wild as the time, setting, and idea that producers probably had it in mind to be.
And I just want you all to know that this is going to be the pledge house.
But it still lasted for a few seasons, focusing on different school sororities, and yeah, this show was just kind of boring in hindsight. Same goes to Fraternity Life, a spin-off that now focuses on fraternities, and just like the other show, it's not as wild as it sounds. Bully Gosh Darn Beatdown, created by hit showmaker Mark Burnett. And the premise here was super simple. Bullies...
We kill, we cook, we eat. That's what we do.
Well, they're bad, okay? So instead of fighting back against them yourself, why not give the bullies a chance to fight a real professional MMA fighter?
I'm gonna make him respect pain.
For the chance to win $10,000. So wait, on the off chance my bully beats up Tyrone Woodley, they get to look cool and make a lot of money? Huh. That sounds like some kid out of Ohio's literal life seeing something like that happen. Anyway, the show would be hosted by Jason Mayhem Miller.
Hey, no, look, man, I'm not gonna beat you up in your mom's house, all right?
A red-striped MMA fighter himself who would bring you into the world of the octagon in front of his crowd. Yes, this show has all the staple MTV cringe dialogue. The totally fake, I mean allegedly fake, stories, bullies, and setups, I mean come on.
Humiliated for life, I fall down the stairs and get hurt.
We get to meet the victims and their pleas to MMA fighters to help them with their bullies.
I'm only 5'6".
And then getting a chance to meet their bullies and see where they're coming from.
First off, you know, I'm pretty awesome.
And during the actual fight, both rounds give the bully a chance at $5,000 apiece. That is if they can make it through the whole round, but tap outs and breaks make them lose some money. But if they quit and get knocked out, then they lose it all. And any lost money in general goes to the victims that they were bullying.
You're gonna regret it, buddy. You're going down.
Let's get it on!
They get beat up, they get some money, and hopefully give an apology to whoever that they were bullying. And after 3 seasons, the host himself, again, who was an MMA fighter, would finally jump in and beat down the bully himself.
All right, let's do this. Moving on!
We love a good twist. Look, let's be honest here. We, you and I, can enjoy something as not great as this type of content is, and admit to it being such. But we also have to agree how not real it is, okay?
You ready to get punked and bullied?
The bullies themselves would have been found out to be stuntmen or actors in some cases, with the alleged belief that the bullies and the victims may not have even really known each other, aside from whatever story they have to play into.
Not really.
Jason Mayhem Miller, however, is a strong defender of the show being real, and that the fights were legit because they were from people who genuinely thought that they could beat up MMA fighters, calling out people who claim the show is fake to be nothing more than a troll. Well, I guess I got a new nickname then. I'm just your trustworthy Trollden Fridge.
Just like that movie Avatar, except without the stupid glasses!
The Andy Milonakis Show. I really don't know how to describe it. It's like inhaling earth-grown enlightenment mixed with a fever dream and humor that was either way too ahead of its time or something that you weren't supposed to ever get.
Guess what? You're the 1000th delivery guy! Whoa! Let me give you your prize. Hold on. You want a pizza?
From random in-apartment skits with Andy and his cast of random people, to going out on the street and talking to the public.
You want to audition to be in a play? Yes? No.
Andy's whole show was saying something without something to say, while at the same time having something to say, but not saying something. If that did make sense, then good, you understand the show. If that didn't make sense, good, you understand the show. That's not to confuse you, that's just how it is.
It's a letter from your parents.
Blub.
Aside from dropping a theme song that if you don't know the lyrics, you still feel like you know the lyrics, Andy was a rapper himself, and would have a bunch of guests on the show, with most being musicians and even then, most being rappers.
What you gonna do, you?
You're really here!
The show was literally labeled a show with nothing to offer, not even the entertainment value. There is no, I highly stress the word no structure. But on the other side of things, you can get a review highly praising it with a take that says Andy Milonakis' brand of humor is particularly daunting because so little of it has a context anyone living outside of his head can seriously relate to. And I feel that is so genuinely accurate in the best way possible.
I want to spank you, and that's kind of weird.
You're not in on the joke. You could just view this as a strange dude living a strange life, and you get to be a fly on the wall observing him.
What you call me?
It certainly is one of the shows of all time. Speaking of going off the rails, we're on the crazy train. We have to talk about another family-based reality show following a musician in an older age dealing with their interesting family, where here, the Osbournes,
And I was like,
feel like there is actually some drama making the show more interesting than some other reality shows to get you to tune in. Whether it's Ozzy yelling out for his wife Sharon
Come on, Sharon.
from across the house, or him having to deal with his kids.
Can you get this television to work? You gotta have like computer knowledge to turn the TV on. Jack!
Ozzy's life post-Black Sabbath and the majority of his solo music career found himself at MTV, and suddenly families around the US, most likely your parents if you were my age, were watching the life of Ozzy as they grew up with him as a musician in their younger years. Parents, they're old. Jokes aside, the show is just yelling, mumbling, cursing,
All right,
and some...
it's finally here. The day has arrived. Bleach Rebirth of Souls has launched, and well, I think it's fair to say it's off to a somewhat shaky start. Today, I want to give you my day one impressions, my very early impressions of the game, having spent a few hours with it now, as well as take a holistic look at how the launch of the game has gone overall, and get your thoughts and feelings on Bleach's first built from the ground up console and PC game in over a decade. Before we get started on the video, however, just a couple of disclosures, so you know I'm being completely upfront with you about how I feel regarding the game. First of all, Bandai Namco were kind enough to send me a copy of the game this morning, which I appreciate greatly. However, I haven't signed anything, I haven't had to make any concessions, so all of my thoughts today will be free of any preconceived bias, aside from the fact that I'm a huge Bleach fan and want to see the game succeed. Plus, it kind of seemed like they didn't really want creators to have the game early in the first place anyway. The second disclosure is a lot simpler. I'm just not that into fighting games, which I'm pretty sure I mentioned when the game was first revealed. Obviously, I want to bring you my thoughts as an enormous fan of the franchise, looking at Rebirth of Souls as the latest installment in the franchise, but as far as understanding the game and the genre mechanically, well, you won't see me talking about any games like this one over on Mr. Tomo Talks Games, that's for sure. This is a roundabout way of saying I apologise in advance for how bad at the game I am. So, with all of that out of the way, let's dive into the video. It's launch day for Rebirth of Souls, so how's the game doing out of the gate? Before we get started on the video, guys, if you haven't done already, consider hitting subscribe down below if you enjoyed today's video and you want to stay up to date with all of the videos coming out of the channel in the near future. I really would appreciate it, and it does make all the difference. And I mentioned it a minute ago, but if you haven't done already, check out my other channel, Mr. Tomo Situation, over on PC at the time of recording, because it seems to be nothing short of an unmitigated disaster. Luckily for me, I'm playing the game on PS5 Pro, and it's been a mostly totally smooth experience from the moment I booted the game up, although having said that, I haven't played online yet. But over on Steam, where I imagine a decent chunk of players have picked the game up, things aren't looking good. Of 2,209 reviews, only 42% of them are positive, giving it a mixed rating overall, which is a slight increase from earlier in the day, where the game had slipped into the mostly negative rating. It seems like PC players are facing numerous issues from the get-go, from the game completely crashing before or after playing the tutorial, to not even launching at all, to there being numerous graphical and audio issues just completely plaguing and frankly ruining the experience. It is totally unacceptable, especially when some people paid upwards of £100 for the Ultimate Edition and the game is completely unplayable in certain instances. Obviously, this isn't the case for everyone on PC. Some people, I'm sure, are getting to play the game with no problems whatsoever, but it does seem to be fairly widespread based on the community response, and it's a huge shame to see. Of course, everyone was extremely excited for the new Bleach game, really the first true one we've had for many years, and so to have it do nothing but crash must be totally crushing. To their credit, the developers are aware of the plethora of issues and have actively reached out to the community for help in identifying the problems they are suffering from, noting that they are working on a solution. It's obviously somewhat naive to say and to hope for, but really no game should be launching in this state. Not only is it painful for the fans who paid for the game, but a bumpy launch like this can really hurt the perception and longevity of the title, which again, really wouldn't be good at all. From what I can see, the PC community has really kind of come together, though, to try and find fixes for the individual problems people are having, which is great to see. Like on the Steam Community Hub, for instance, there are at least a couple of posts I can see right off the bat where people are talking about some fixes they may have found for some of the major issues, so that is really great to see, and hopefully a more widespread fix comes pretty soon. So yeah, I mean, hopefully that all gets fixed soon enough and people are able to play without issue over on Steam, and hopefully it doesn't do any lasting damage to the game, but as for my experience so far, well, it has certainly been better than that. On PS5, the game has been essentially problem-free, which I am grateful for. Again, I haven't played online yet, but apart from that, the game has been running absolutely fine, and to be honest, it has been surreal, really surreal, to finally have a brand new big-budget Bleach game to play again after so many years, to unlock trophies for as well. It seems like the Platinum is going to be very doable, which is quite exciting for a trophy nerd like me. It definitely feels like this entire package comes with a sense of recognition for the series' more recent successes, which is awesome to see and to experience. So I've sunk maybe 5 or 6 hours into the game so far. I've completed the first arc of the story mode, the Substitute Shinigami arc, played a few games of Versus mode, spent a fair bit of time in the training mode, and attempted the first mission mode stage as well. So let's begin with what I like about the game right off the bat. In regards to its art direction, it is faithfully Bleach, right down to what feels like the smallest detail. I adore the look of the menus. They are extremely clean and stylish and nail the Bleach vibe. Specifically kind of early Bleach, but they nail the Bleach vibe. And the same goes for the character select screen as well. It's so sleek. It looks so cool, and it's so awesome to see these characters collected in one place like this. The soundtrack is upbeat and eclectic and memorable. I've already found myself humming several of the tunes back when I've been away from the TV, so that's a pretty good sign there's going to be some earworms in there. Once you complete the first chapter of the story mode, essentially the first arc, one of the intro movies plays, one of the ones we got a trailer for recently on YouTube, and it looks fantastic, and again, it's so creative, and it feels like Bleach brought to life in the form of a game, which is just really wonderful, and to kind of be sitting there in front of my TV playing this really nice new Bleach game is just so great in 2025. And I've said it before as well, but I think the roster here is really strong, which is arguably one of, I would say, two of the most important things to get right, the roster and the mechanics. It's diverse, it's interesting. As a hardcore fan of the series, it does annoy me a little bit that even in 2025, we still can't get every Espada in a game, let alone the Lost Agent and Thousand Year Blood War Arc content. Now I know that is coming in the future, Thousand Year Blood War Arc anyway. I don't have a lot of hope for the Fullbringers, but really I can't complain too much. I'm loving the cast as it is right now. Characters like Kyoraku have genuinely creative movesets. Of course, I had to try him out already. The way the team have incorporated his Shikai games, and they are brand new Shikai games too, is truly clever. And I'm having a lot of fun trying out each character to see what they are truly capable of. Mayuri is another great example. He feels savage and fierce. I love the animation work with him, the way he kind of jabs his sword into his enemies in such a brutal and sadistic fashion is so cool. And I love as well how smartly his Bankai is incorporated into the actual battle system itself. And this is true for a number of different characters. Now, I haven't had the chance to try even half of the roster yet, but I have tried maybe a quarter, maybe a third, and already you can see the love and the care that has gone into each of these characters and their individual movesets. The way some of Bleach's weirder, more creative and abstract powers, Tosen's Bankai as well, for example, Soifon's Nigeki Kesatsu, have been incorporated into this game is really quite impressive. It all feels so organic, and it looks great, and it feels great to play as well. Soifon, by the way, feels fantastic to play in this game. She's super quick. She's up there as one of my favorite characters to play so far. Also, you know, little details, little cameos from characters like Nemu and Hiyori who appear on the battlefield as part of certain characters' movesets is really appreciated as well. Using Aizen, again, of course, I had to give him a try. Naturally evolving over the course of the battle thanks to the Hogyoku throughout the fight feels brilliant as well, and it really is so cinematic too as you reach a certain threshold and Aizen kind of evolves without you having to do anything. I think that's one of the kind of unique things about his character, and he becomes, you know, Cocoon Aizen just in the midst of the fight. It really does feel like you're going through the motions of Deicide, and I love that. I think that's one of the best things about it, the way they've managed to capture and convey that feeling of a Bleach fight. It works so well to convey the sense of power that should come from a character like him. And I know this point has been made 100 times by now, but it really does feel like the only true miss on the roster is Orihime, especially since she is all over this game. It only makes the fact that she isn't playable that much more conspicuous. You could make arguments for characters like Barragan, maybe someone like Ishin, a couple of Vizards, perhaps the rest of the Espada, but realistically, a roster of 33 totally unique characters is a great jumping off point for the game, especially since they all look and feel so far brilliant to use. So much love has gone into them, and I would say that really Orihime is the only character who absolutely should have been here, playable in some form. This whole idea that Orihime's abilities don't really work in the game, you know, she couldn't be playable in a fighting game like this, is complete nonsense. Realistically, a moveset could be made for literally any character, and Orihime has been in games like this before. So for her not to be here, I do think is a shame, but apart from that, the roster is, I think, very strong. To add on top of that, I've also been surprisingly impressed by the range of costumes on show here as well. Obviously, the 1000-Year Blood War Arc costumes are top tier. That version of Byakuya is probably my favourite. That's an interesting version of Byakuya, though, because in the 1000-Year Blood War Arc, he doesn't wear his Royal Palace cloak over his shoulders like that, really until the very end of the arc, essentially. Never when he has the little hat or anything like that, so that's kind of interesting to see, and it does look pretty cool. But I mean, like, Mayuri's sunsuit looks absolutely amazing, and there's even the multicolored variant as well, which I wasn't expecting to see. That's such a nice little additional detail. And as well, that kind of hammers home this idea that they are working with the anime team in conjunction as well. I think they mentioned that in regards to the upcoming 1000-Year Blood War Arc DLC characters, and if they exhibit the same kind of attention to detail as these do, we're going to be in good hands, I think. But yeah, there's just loads of really cool costumes here. You have some of the obvious ones, I think, like Captain Aizen alongside his traitorous Arankar arc look. You have Captain Shinji, which is really nice to see, but you also have things like Yamamoto without the top half of his Shahakusho, which is really badass. It's obviously a little harder, I guess, for some characters like the Espada. Stark, for instance, only has a recolor because he doesn't ever really look any different, but I do think characters like Neutra could have had, for example, his 8th Espada look. I don't know why that wasn't included. Maybe it was because his actual Zanpakuto would have had to have changed significantly, but I mean, apart from that, I feel like he could have had that in there. But yeah, for the most part, in regards to the characters, I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy. And the way the characters have turned out so well here does get me very, very excited for who they might add in the 1000-Year Blood War Arc DLC. That is something I am very much looking forward to. In regards to the actual fighting mechanics themselves, while I am still trying to get to grips with them somewhat, for the most part, I actually enjoy the fighting a lot more than I thought I was going to. It plays really well. At least on PS5 it feels fluid, and the attacks land with a real weight and punch to them. I think the way the team has managed to take the concept of a Bleach battle and incorporate it into a fighting system is very clever. It's clear that was the mission objective here behind this game. That was their core concept they wanted to nail down. And it's clear a lot of time and effort has gone into coming up with a means of replicating how a Bleach fight looks and feels. Because stylistically, of course, Bleach really does have its own unique vibe. Fights are incredibly flashy and punctuated by these huge pendulum swing moments, and that is exactly what happens here. Now, maybe some people are put off by the abundance of miniature cutscenes and transitions that happen throughout the battles, but so far I haven't found them to be egregious, and to me they add to that cinematic feel that is so key to nailing down a Bleach battle. Mapping several abilities to the spirit energy system is an effective way of exploring every character's potential range, while also making it very easy to use Shunpo or the character's equivalent to recreate a badass striking moment that looks lifted straight out of the anime as you teleport behind someone. Maybe again you get a small cutscene shot where the character who's being targeted looks all shocked, recreating, some of the most famous and iconic panels in Bleach. Is really awesome stuff, and again feels like it was kind of slathered with love and attention. It feels like, crucially, like I said, a lot of care went into trying to replicate a Bleach fight, like you might see in the manga or in the anime. And that goes doubly so for the Awakening and Hikon move systems, which again really capture the over-the-top transformations and powers of Bleach. Actually getting to earn and activate a Bankai in real time, for example, makes so much sense for the series, and it's been translated really well. So, to be honest, for someone who is very much a fighting game layman, I've already been having a ton of fun with the actual battles themselves. Perhaps unsurprisingly, it feels like these mechanics, the characters' own individual playstyles, is where the most time and effort went. And I mean, that's probably time well spent, let's face it. I've also completed a chunk of the story mode. Like I said, I've finished the first arc, and I have mixed feelings about it. But we're talking about what I like, what I enjoy right now, so I have to say I'm very impressed and a little taken aback at how in-depth they've gone here. While the story has been abridged to a fairly obvious degree, which was inevitable and totally fair, this is still a thorough retelling of Bleach so far, and I'm kind of bowled over by it. Also, the amount of fully made-up character models in the game for unplayable characters is quite surprising. You actually battle the likes of Fishbone D, Hexapogus, whose name I think is spelled incorrectly here in the game, and Shrieker, which is really awesome. It is a little weird that you spend the first chunk of the story mode fighting battles that don't replicate the majority of how the game is actually played, one-on-one human battles, but once you reach Renji at the end of the arc, it does feel really good and feels like the story mode comes into its own. I also enjoyed the brief time I spent with mission mode, though I haven't put too much time into it yet, so I don't have a lot to say about it, but I mean, in general, that's what I'm enjoying about the game so far. Crucially, for me at least, and again I'm a total self-confessed fighting game layman, the actual combat itself is satisfying and fun and really captures the essence of Bleach, which I think is vital. So yeah, what I'm liking most about the game, thankfully, is the fighting mechanics themselves, the characters, the roster diversity, and just how much effort has clearly gone into every single one of them. Each and every one of them. The look, the feel, and the vibe of the entire game is perfectly encapsulating Bleach itself. The music, the visuals, the menus, it all screams Bleach, which again is wonderful. And I'm also impressed at how thorough the story mode appears to be, and I'd say personally the game seems to be pretty feature complete on the surface. Again, if there's something you as a more seasoned fighting game player thinks it's missing, do let me know in the comments. Anyway, on to the parts of the game that I'm currently less keen on. While the game is perfectly playable on the PS5, which is a blessing at the moment, it is quite ugly. It is blurry, the resolution is 1080p at most, maybe running under that at times, which is really weird. For the game to look so rough on next-gen consoles, especially the Pro, is a huge disappointment. I was completely baffled at the start of the game when booting it up to see that the display settings are non-existent. There's an option to turn off motion blur, which I did, and that's it. Even weirder, and maybe it's just me, but whenever a Keycon move or awakening is used, the game suddenly looks much better. It's crisp, it's clean, and it's just a whole lot clearer to look at, and actually quite pretty. And I would not be surprised if in those moments, in those small cutscenes, those split-second fraction of gameplay, if the resolution is bumped up perhaps, I don't know, but they do look better. Maybe it's a placebo, I don't know. The real issue, though, is that in-game the character models are hazy and weird to look at, as though they're not quite in focus. It definitely feels like the game is drenched in chromatic aberration, for one thing, but for this to not be running at even close to 4K on the PS5 Pro is a big shame. I can't shake the feeling, and this is only speculation on my part, but I can't shake the feeling that this was maybe developed predominantly for PS4 before they decided to also port it to PS5 without really any of the bells and whistles that you would expect from a next-gen title. Now obviously with cross-gen games there is some form of compromise, but this does feel like a last-generation game. Loading screens are pretty rampant throughout, and never that long, but again that's just not something you really see anymore. It feels decidedly last-gen in some areas of the presentation, which is even more annoying when you see how gorgeous these character models are, and you want to show them off on the screen. And really, my last real gripe comes from the aforementioned story mode. The cutscenes are both very long, and also quite cheap looking, considering much of the art and the direction of the game, like I said, looks great. These do kind of stand out like a sore thumb. And I get it, using 3D animated cutscenes for every single scene is pretty ambitious, but I can't help but wonder if it was really worth it. Some of these shots look maybe 2 generations old, but again, it's not the end of the world and critically doesn't affect the game. So, I mean, that's about it for my pretty brief launch day first impressions of Bleach Rebirth of Souls. It's a mixed bag right now, but honestly, I'm just grateful I can actually play it. I hope that the game is sorted on PC sooner rather than later for those who can't play. Maybe by the time this video is released, the situation will be fixed, and hopefully won't have done lasting damage to the game's reputation. As we wrap up, there are a few little nitpicks I, again as a pretty big Bleach fan, couldn't help but notice that did seem a bit off. For example, Shikai Ichigo's Keycon move dialogue is, "Sorry, I'll kill you," which really doesn't sound like Ichigo at all to me. It threw me off the first time I heard it in the tutorial. "Sorry, I'll beat you," maybe, but kill is a very strong word that Ichigo explicitly never uses outside of when he wants to kill Tsukishima, so that was a little bit weird. Then secondly, in the story mode, again, I get that making a ton of models that will never be used just isn't going to happen and does not make financial or sense in a time perspective, but it was weird seeing Fishbone D of all characters randomly return in place of the pig hollow that attacks Rukia, and for her to even call him a pig, which again was kind of odd. But anyway, closing out now, would I recommend the game right now as of launch day? Certainly on PS5, yes, I would absolutely recommend Bleach Rebirth of Souls to Bleach fans and even fighting games. It captures the spirit of Bleach really, really well, and the characters have been immaculately translated to the point where I am very excited to see who the 1000 Year Blood War DLC characters are going to be. As far as I'm concerned, so far, again, this is on PS5 because you can't even play the game on PC for the most part, they have nailed what I would think are the most important aspects of the game to get right. There are some elements of the presentation that do let down the overall package, but as far as the actual game itself goes, I'm having a great time. It is surreal to be playing it, and most importantly, the actual fighting mechanics have had a lot of love put into them to turn the game into essentially a Bleach fight simulator, which is exactly what you want it to be. But let me know down in the comments, how have you found the game so far? Are you playing on PC? Are you playing on PS5? Are you playing on Xbox? How has your experience been, no matter where you are? And if you are able to play the game, who are you currently using the most? Which is your favourite character? I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Alright guys, but that's it for my launch day impressions of Bleach Rebirth of Souls. Here's hoping it gets fixed on PC sooner rather than later. Maybe, like I said, by the time this video goes live, it will have already been. here's hoping. Do consider hitting subscribe if you haven't done already, to stay updated with all of my videos moving forwards. Check out Mr. Tomo Talks Games for more game talk just like this, although not quite just like this, but about other games. Maybe give it a subscribe over there. Again, your support would be greatly appreciated. And as always, I want to give a massive shout out and say a huge thank you to my supporters over on Patreon. We really couldn't do this without, and your support does mean the absolute world to me, so thank you all so very much. Alright guys, until next time, I'm going to go play some more Rebirth of Souls, and I'll catch you later. I'll see you then.
An enemy has been slain. Double kill. An ally has been slain.
It is such a small and fragile thing.
Hi! Welcome to Brainworms. Why waste any time? Let's see what the team has put together for us today.
No! There are no vehicles on this trail. Do you see me? You can hit me. There are kids here. What the f are you doing?
I'm the only person on this road.
Yeah, no, you can, but there's no lights on this thing. What are you doing?
No! I mean, if you see a dude casually biking across a one-lane bridge and your immediate instinct is to lower your center of gravity and take the impact for the sake of some unwritten trail rule, you might just be a sociopath.
Right here every day. It's an e-bike. It's fine. Are you gonna let me pass? I'm not gonna hurt you. I was going less than 10 miles an hour.
No, it doesn't matter. They're not supposed to be.
Ma'am, I ride this trail every day. There's no kids out here. Everything's fine. To call the cops. Call the police.
I bet you will.
All right. Am I free to leave? Am I free to leave?
Great, unending sadness.
Am I free to leave, lady? No, sir. You are being held under citizen's arrest, as I take very seriously my duty to protect this neighborhood from negligent electric bike operators jeopardizing the safety of our children and the integrity of our laws. Also, I love that did he just snatch her CVS bag on the way out?
I am inevitable.
Yeah, he did. The satisfaction of stealing her shit with no witnesses around is amazing. Lick of the century. Just snags her CVS bag of shit and peels out. What a poetic ending to, honestly, a very pensive interaction. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but it did kind of feel good to see him do that at the end. You can't deny that. If he was smart, the power move would have been to just throw it over his shoulder afterwards to say, yeah, I got your shit and I own you now, but I'm too smart to catch a charge for stealing your lorazepam prescription from Walgreens or whatever. I'm not sure what the exact rules are on that bridge. I don't think it matters, because that woman, even though she might have had a shred of truth to what she was saying, just insane behavior. Surprise, surprise. When you're showing an apartment and this happens.
Yeah, that would help me, actually.
Very nice. Island in the kitchen. Beautiful granite countertops. Clearly freshly renovated. Dark one. Nice little living space here.
Is that closet?
That's washer dryer hookups.
Yeah, washer dryer hookups.
I'm sorry I kicked you.
Nice little spare room, or maybe this is the master. Let's see what we got for closet space.
There's a person in there. There's a person in there?
Yep. Hello? This broad just beeline for the door. Bye-bye. I'm so sorry about that. Oh, nice. This is the washer-dryer hookup. This room looks really nice. The double doors in the closet. And there's a person in there. Oh, yeah, honey, that's just Miguel. He has the spare room closet Mondays and Thursdays from 3 to 11 p.m. and Sunday mornings before church. He's generally harmless. Has a minuscule criminal record, honestly, compared to most local vagrants, so you probably won't even notice it. He keeps the plants watered, and for a small upcharge, he'll even refill your cat's dry food if you're ever away for extended periods. He did occasionally try to peer through the glass master bathroom shower door with the previous tenants, so I would keep that locked as a general rule of thumb. But he does have a guilty conscience, so you can usually get him to fold some laundry or clean a bathroom or two if you ever catch him doing it. So should we check out the living room? Let's go check out. Parked on the sidewalk. Don't park on the sidewalk. Oh, just hopping right up on the car.
Hey.
And jumping.
No. What are you doing? Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
You're on the sidewalk, blocking the sidewalk.
Yeah, obviously.
Ah, yes, the classic native pedestrian versus entitled, illegally parked, affluent white couple just trying to move a few items into their new apartment in a city where it's virtually impossible to double park anywhere for more than 45 seconds. Now, definitely a dick move by the guy with the camera, but the comments are mostly on his side. If you pay attention to the internet at all, you can imagine that the majority of folks are just applauding this pedestrian's actions because this idea that any sort of entitlement to the sidewalk with your car is just absurd and you should be punished for your actions. Now, in this lovely couple's defense, you know what, I don't really have it. If you straight up park on the sidewalk in the city, you pretty much have to expect at some point a dude with a blossoming social media account is going to roll up and go do the gritty on the hood of your shit. And if you're moving to the city, you either pay after getting towed for double parking in the street, or you pay for a new hood after Dexter tap dances your shit for a cool TikTok video. Either way, you gotta pay. Watched this 6 times and enjoyed it greatly. Correct response. Lots of lettuce owned. Nice. Truly everyone was rooting for the dude filming. Really quite informative if you're paying attention to our social landscape at all. Oh boy. Oh jeez Louise.
What the fuck? Ow, go that way, go that way, go that way, go that way, go that way.
Pretty reasonable reaction. CarMax and Englewood. Whoa. That's really crazy because Englewood's always been pretty well known to be very high income, affluent, not crime ridden part of town. It's really weird. This incident was reported at around 2:10 p.m. at the CarMax dealership in South LA. The customer had been getting his vehicle appraised at the dealership, according to CarMax. And witnesses said the customer apparently didn't like the offer, snapped, and got back into his parked car. Okay, I was laughing until I just read the rest of it, and apparently 8 people were injured too critically. So he blasted through the front door. Man, Jesus Christ. He was later arrested by police, of course. Dealers hate when you use this one simple trick. Yeah. Sir, I'm being told you didn't like our first offer. So we're going to come back again. And unfortunately, I hate to inform you, it's going to be a little bit less now that you've totaled your car on the glass and steel front doors for people inside the facility. We can offer you, at this time, 10 years in federal jail. As always, a very measured and not at all fucking absolutely insane response to not getting a deal that you'd like. Once again, the internet is undefeated in capturing the worst parts of humanity at scale here.
Excuse me, ma'am. It's not where the cart goes. That's not where the cart goes.
Look,
The cart.
I'm disabled with my back and my knee. I don't care.
Well, there's cart corrals and stuff. You're blocking the section where handicapped people go.
You see me in a handicap? Would you like to see? He's gonna run you over.
That's
Get
okay.
out of here and move on.
I was just saying, you can't put your cart there. You shouldn't do that.
Move it for me. Be a nice citizen and move it for me.
Should I?
Okay? Yeah, you should.
All right.
So clearly this guy wants to be cart narc really, really bad.
Move it.
And
why don't you move it?
You move it. You're an asshole. Get out of here.
You're lazy bones.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Cart narc, shout out to you.
Now I've enjoyed some cart narc videos in the past, even with the channel with my wife. We've reacted to a few, and generally, as a rule of thumb, I love the idea of shaming people for not returning their cart to an extent. But once you start having these kind of copycats trying to pretend like they're the cart narc and you're harassing old like handicapped ladies, maybe we're getting a little over the top here. People need to mind their own business. You have no clue what someone is going through. If you just leave your cart around all willy-nilly and you always expect other people to put your shit away from you, generally I think you're just a low IQ piece of shit. For the most part, it's just kind of like informs me how you typically treat and live the rest of your life. The old Reddit shopping cart return thread, if you know, you know.
I've been streaming.
I'm not allowed to do that without my permission.
I told you I was streaming.
Not quite, big guy.
I'm in public.
You're not allowed to use my voice.
In public we can. You want to bet on it? I'll call the police. Put money on it. I'll call the police right now. In a public setting, you're allowed to record. Put money on it. Bring the police.
Indiana Jones is living in the 40s, bro. I can't believe there's still people. Like, this dude looks like he was just streaming on the bench, doing his damn thing, and dude came up by him and like starts chatting and maybe realizes he's streaming and is like, well, wait a minute, that's illegal. You didn't get my permission to come up to you and start talking. Well, now you're using my voice and that's copyrighted, so I'm gonna call the cops. Okay, Andy, relax, pal.
They'll be just so you're in a public place, in a public sidewalk, and they'll be fine with it. You don't have to be in it, I swear, you don't have to. The mic's on me. Did I put a mic in you? I didn't. In a public setting, you're allowed to record and as much as you want.
I don't know anything about this kid, but he seems...
And video.
Pretty respectful.
Not true. Positive. In Seattle, Washington, you're allowed to.
Put 20 bucks on it.
20 bucks? I'll do 1,000. I'll do 1,000.
Look it up.
I'm telling you, man. I do this all the time.
So what's your name?
Karin.
Karin?
Yeah. Generally, yes, you can record in public spaces as people in public areas are not considered to be...
Recording.
Yeah. Video recording.
With,
it doesn't specify that, but obviously...
Guy's a fucking legal expert. See, that's what it is. It's the with sound caveat. Oh yeah, you can do silent films all you want. You can Charlie Chaplin all over Seattle, but sound? You'll be hearing from my lawyers. My voice is absolutely illegal to be captured.
I don't think so. I think...
With sound. You're doing this with sound.
With
call
sound.
the police on me. It's fine.
That's fine.
I'll just mute it, partner.
It's not that
I'll just mute
deep.
it for you.
It's just record. It's just a camera.
Guy made himself like an absolute moron. I'm not saying you have to enjoy or love the fact that maybe you were recorded and you didn't know it, but you just made it 300 times worse, my guy. You could have just been like, oh shit, I didn't know you were streaming, and moseyed right along. Wash your hands of it. You're in the clear, pal. You're good to go. Instead, you're now a viral clip on the internet. Oh man, just 50 years behind these old cats, some of them. But you see, you're doing it with sound. And with sound is illegal. Silent films, yes, that's a my generation thing. I'll allow it. But now that you've captured my voice, I must be needing to sign a waiver, and if not, I will have the police contacted, and you will be aggressively arrested and tased. Fuck out of here, dude. Okay. First day on the job prank.
Huh? It's my first day at work.
So, Daddy, why you come over here?
It's my first day at work.
What are you working?
I'm doing overtime.
Come here, please, outside. Please come here outside.
Wait, my name is Dad.
No, please come outside, brother. You come outside. You come outside, brother.
My name is Dad!
Come outside. Come outside, I'm talking to. I will talk to my boss first. Then you talk to me. You talk to me now.
It's my first day!
No problem. Let me talk to my boss. Then you come outside. Go there outside.
Call him now! Call him now!
Stand there. Don't come inside.
I quit!
Okay, I will call to cop.
I quit!
You quit. Go.
I don't want to work here no more!
You go there.
I quit!
Get lost. Get lost from here.
Now, I know there's definitely like a population of Zoomers that probably find this type of thing hilarious. And while I empathize with your ignorance, I understand a little bit because of the culture you're being raised in. That said, and I've been saying this for a while, to the point I think I should put it on a t-shirt at this point, but we need to make medieval-style public executions great again. Tar, feathers, a gathering of the local community, women and children included, an executioner with a massively oversized, supremely sharpened axe, a chopping block, and just a tiny little basket for your head. How fast do you think these dudes would stop making shitty public pranks for TikTok and Instagram if the punishment was public beheading? I bet that shit would dry up so fast, and there's really only one way to find out.
It was just a prank, bro.
I know that's maybe opening a can of worms if you do that, but that's why I'm saying very specifically for just annoying people on social media. You know, we have to apply it in a very tight vertical. It's kind of like a dry run to see before we go wider. I dare you to do the same to an American business owner. Yeah. I mean, I love this insinuation that an American business owner would just by default pull out a shotgun and like take off a kneecap or a limb or something. And maybe that's true, but if you remember, it's the rooftop Koreans that from the LA riot days. Remember those guys? Those are the guys you need to be careful of.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Why are you parking here? This is my house.
Okay, but
Who are you?
I'm waiting for my friend. He lives in one of these houses over here.
What friend?
I'm waiting for one of my friend.
You have friends?
Yeah, my friend.
You have friends and you park outside my house?
But the postcode took me here. I'm literally just waiting here until my friend comes out. He lives in one of these houses.
You know how expensive this area is?
Well, yeah, I do know.
I don't think you're from here.
No, I'm not from here. That's why I'm here to see my friend.
I don't think you have a friend here. You don't know whose daughter I am. Это идиот
Should we?
нашего дома. Говорит какого-то френда. You have no friends.
I do
I'm
have a
telling
friend.
you have no friends.
I do.
I can tell. Go call the police.
For what?
My brother will come now and he will give it to you.
He'll
but
give you
I will
what?
also call the police. So
Your
two
brother's gonna
times
give me
you
what?
Give it to you.
But who's gonna give me what?
Yes.
Well, what do you mean you're gonna give it to me?
Looks Indian, talks Russian, acts Karen. This is something brand new. This is actually an underrated comment, okay? It's easy to get complacent thinking we know how Karens are gonna act. Classic middle-aged woman with a blonde bob cut, all bark, no bite, etc. Only thing she knows how to do is pull out a cell phone, right? But an Indian-looking Karen with a Russian accent? Absolutely all bets are off. There are no Vegas odds I'm willing to bet on as to what this chick's next move is. She's gonna call on her brother to put you on ice? Maybe. Become a new age Disney princess and put a curse on you that can't be broken unless you force a disabled immigrant to fall in love with you? Anything's who knows this day and age, right? I'm simply rolling my window up and I'm moving along my way.
Paula, you're getting uncomfortably close.
See, this is...
And I will defend myself. If you touch me, I will...
Minus the bob haircut, this is the classic quintessential Karen phenotype
I will
here.
hit you with a taser, okay? I want to make sure that's crystal clear. You are very much in my Oh, did you just kick my pole, Paula? Paula, do it again and see what happens to you. I'm not going to be assaulted by you, Paula. Get out of my face. Get out, thank you. Yeah, you're crossing the line, Paula. I'm standing here on a public sidewalk, and you start getting in my face.
So you know that she's not going to do anything besides record vertically to, farm some social points in her like local community Facebook groups or whatever. And not to shit on her, because in the small context I've heard this guy that's filming, he sounds to me, no context, but I guarantee you he's like one of those First Amendment auditors that just sits around and films like banks and official government buildings and shit. Which in my opinion is in existence as bad, if not worse, than a Karen's existence. Imagine living in such a vacuum, void of healthy relationships, cool hobbies, purpose, or anything remotely interesting to the point you spend all day just filming the outside of a bank just to make the people inside feel uncomfortable. Like, cool footage, bro. Absolutely no one is showing up to your funeral, though. I'm so sorry to tell you. Let's see what else. He just sounds like the type you can tell.
I will defend myself, absolutely.
There's my amendment. And my amendment right.
You'll find out if she assaults me again. She just came over here and kicked my pole.
People are...
If it was your daughter or your grandchildren, would you like us to be recording you?
Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be great. Well, go bring your grandkids over here so I can record them too.
All right.
Because you look stupid as hell.
All right.
Dude, hey! You just took a picture of the car and me.